The Ben Heck Show is brought to you by Element 14, the electronic design community and online store built for engineers and hobbyists alike. Join now and browse the store at element14.com.
Hello, Agent. Your license to kill won't help you now. It just so happens that I have a new toy.
And just what is that?
It's an industrial laser that can cut through anything.
But it can't cut through that door.
We're working on that.
I suppose you expect me to talk.
No, I expect you to die.
Wait! I know about Operation Solder Gauntlet. Your diabolical plan to create a device so you can solder more than any other engineer took over the world!
Very well. I suppose you're worth more to me alive than dead.
Amazing builds, exclusive mods, cutting-edge ideas, electronics, engineering, and more. Every week on Element 14's The Ben Heck Show.
It's time to finish my diabolical plan. In the last episode, I made the fingertip soldering iron for the right hand. In this episode, I'm going to make the solder dispenser itself for the left hand. My thought here is to have the other finger be a solder dispenser. When you're wiring things up, you know, it's like, oh, where'd I put my solder? Where'd I put the iron? Where can I put the solder? Where can I put the iron, you know, where they won't fall down? And again, the idea here is to put everything on your hands. So I'm just gonna mock this up with tape for starters. So this tube could have the solder, and of course we have to make sure it goes to the full range of motion. Okay, so this will bring it literally to your fingertips. So let's say there's something back here that extrudes it. Well, not really extrudes it. It'd be kind of like the extruders we have on the 3D printers, except for it's not going to melt it. It's just going to compress it with the gear and push it forward. Okay, yeah. See, get the idea? How handy would that be? That's the idea. So, let's see here. Okay, now we have to assume a full roll of solder, which is 1 pound. And one problem I see by putting it on the back of the wrist is it's gonna fall that way or this way. So we might need to make kind of a more elaborate thing here just to support the weight. So we can maybe have the leather come back here along my forearm a little bit and have a strap here and here. That way the weight of the spool here is distributed across the back of my arm. And in between these two pieces, nope, I pulled it out, is where we'll have the solder, I'm just gonna call it the solder extruder. So it will basically pull the solder off the spool and feed it through this tube. The motor sits into this unit here, and this will probably just be hot glued to a piece of leather that goes around my hand. And then this is the pressure arm. It has a small bearing in it that is on a 4mm screw with a lock nut. And then there's a spring to apply upward pressure from the bearing onto the solder, onto the small tooth gear that is on the motor. So I'm just going to screw this in place. Not super tight because we want it to move a little bit. Okay. There we go. All right, let's find a power source. Oh, see, we've already mushed it. Yeah, that's part of the problem. It seems like it's going here. Let's tap it. Let's extrude this through this beat up stuff a little bit more. Okay, that's good, that's good. Let's just get rid of that. I like the way it looks. I wonder if a different type of tube, like, you know, HDPE or something, But actually, I think if it's all the way through the tube, that'll probably help, because most of the friction is probably coming from the leading edge of it. Ooh, that's not good. Those were touching. There. There's your problem. All right, again. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, I got an idea. Let's do this. Let's pull this out. Let's get another piece of this tubing here. See, this is the best way to do it. Just stick it right on your hand and experiment. Okay, Felix, if you can grab the scissors. Oh, actually, I got it. Let's just cut this way too long, and then we'll cut it down from there. So what I propose we do is we bring this. It's quite the thunderstorm going on outside. I know this thing looks ridiculous, but I think it'll be pretty awesome. See, sometimes you just have to look stupid to get the job done. So based off our task, we want to put this tube right up to the arm. And we could just glue it in place, but if we want to do it right, I should make a countersink inside of the arm so the tube can actually fit inside of it a little bit, and then I'll glue it. Otherwise, it could just pry off. So I'm going to reprint this arm using that idea. Here is the old one that just had a small hole coming out of it. I reprinted it with a larger hole so the tube can fit right into it. So it's a lot easier to thread now. So let's just give that a jolt of electricity. There we go. Yeah. Cool. All right, so what I think we need to do now is figure out the best place where it's gonna go on my hand. Well, Felix, I think it's time for some leather work.
All right, sounds
just
good.
like in Skyrim. So, yeah, we have this piece of tape around my hand. That basically shows us the circumference of my hand. So that's probably the minimum distance that we want. Like that there. And then we're gonna wanna be able to have like some sort of Velcro strap on this. So I'm kind of thinking, have the motor here, have the Velcro strap here, and then we'll have the button here. And I've got these large tack switches that I think will work.
Just hit that, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Just like Spider-Man. It'll wash off. Okay, so this would represent the back of the hand. So then we come here. So let's get this measurement here. Let's call it 1 1/4 inches. So go 1 1/4 inches here. This one is 1 1/8 inches. Wait. Oh, okay, it's 1 1/8 inches from the inside, all right. Yeah, it's confusing for a second. Okay. So my thought is, make a cut here. All right. Well, I think we have way more down there than we need. That's okay. You know, we're building this for the human hand, so we might as well build it on a hand, right? Yeah. All right, so let's position the motor, and I will have you glue it well when the time comes. So I guess the question right now is this gonna come to the side of the finger or the top? What do you think looks good? Actually, hold the motor there. All right, yeah. Okay, so we need to look at the extremities of it. So my finger could go that far down in theory. Okay, let's do this. Okay, you can let go now. I'm gonna make a cut right there. I just think it should be like a cool angle, you know, like a syringe. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of Velcro on that for starters. Oh, there it is. This just keeps it from fraying. Smells, ugh, like burnt skin. Great, all right. There we go. Happy little clouds.
Rainbows and butterflies.
Yep, kittens and sloths. Now it's time for a tech timeout. Today's tech timeout, I thought some mechanical design tips would be in order, since that's what we're doing today. First tip, keep it simple. In the case of our solder spooler, we have the motor with some teeth on it and a flywheel that pushes against it. That's it, no clutches, nothing else. Very simple, 2 parts. Don't forget tolerances. It's really easy to design something that's perfect on the computer, but you can't actually build it in real life, even with fancy equipment. A 3D printer, the plastic will expand or contract. CNC machine, the bit might wobble or have some variances to it. A laser, the laser does, curve away some material. It's always better to have a little bit of slop in your design, so when you actually put it together, it can move. Because you could build it with no tolerances, but you probably won't get it together because it'll be so tight, it just won't fit. And I would say the last one, make it stronger than it needs to be. So we need a certain amount of pressure to hold that solder. We'll put a big spring in there first and then work our way back. It's a lot easier to make something weaker than it is to make it stronger. And when you're doing mechanical things that move, keep in mind that the machine has to support its own weight. For instance, if I were to lift a bowling ball, my arm is not just lifting the weight of the bowling ball, but the weight of my arm. And it seems obvious, but it's something you could forget. Like even just moving a motor, motors are heavy. If a motor has to move a motor, how much weight does that take? If a motor has to move a motor, how much torque does that take? Here's where we are with our proof of concept. We found this coiled spring, which I was going to use in a different project but never did. And we have it inside of this plastic tube, so it basically adapts to the arm that we already made. And then here we have it going through 2 metal spacers. These are the spacers that we're always using for projects. It's basically a 1/4 inch aluminum spacer that you can put around a size 6 screw. And it slides pretty good. And the solder slides well in the metal tube as well. So I've actually got this jerry rigged up. I just hooked the switch directly up to these batteries. So, all right, let's do proof of concept. So this is me. So let's actually, you got like a piece of real wire just to make this look real.
Here's a piece of real wire. This really is wire.
Good. I was hoping we'd have some real wire. Okay. So here's the idea. So I'm holding the real wire here and I can bring up the solder and so, see, it's like having 3 hands. So solder, wire, and this. And I could be holding something here too. Let's see how fast this thing will go. It's kind of a waste. Why would you ever extrude out this much solder unless, well, I guess I just did. Next, we're gonna make the solder dispenser. So if you're wearing this on your hand, the solder dispenser will be on your forearm or whatever scientifically this is called. So we have this black piece of plastic that Felix shaped, kind of like armor. See, I'm safe. And then I used a laser cutter to make this frame, which fits on it. And it actually takes into account the fact that the armor is curved. And in this, well, we'll probably glue this together, but this is where the spool of solder is going to go. So spool is going to go here, and then it will feed out, where's the end of it here? Go out through here, and then that'll go to the extruder. Basically, it keeps the solder low against your arm. All right, so I'm going to start by gluing this wood frame together, and then we can put together the spool holder itself. We're going to use bearings so the spool can rotate freely. I 3D printed these things that look like little champagne bottles, and the bearings are going to sit on them like that. Then I made a linkage to put them together. So I called this on my file the toilet roll, because that's kind of what it looks like. The thing that holds the paper. So the linkage will make the 2 pieces stay together. There we go. All right, so here's how it works. You put the whoop, and this locks in place. And Bob's your uncle. Oh, that spins nicely. Next, we have to attach this to the black armband. What we do now echoes in eternity. So that's how you change it, you know, the once a year that you'll have to change it. Even myself, it takes me like a year and a half to use up a pound of solder. Hot glue everywhere! Ah! I've gone mad. We're going to put leather straps on the inside of this, that way we don't have to coat this with leather. So leather is touching your skin, not plastic. What? Super glue is better than hot glue? I can't believe it. Hold that. Okay, what's my blood pressure? Let's bring it back a little bit. So this could also be a blood pressure machine too, besides all the other things. We have to make the solder loading really easy since you would do it like once a year. I can do this. I don't need any help. Oh. I guess I need help. This came disconnected. All right, here is the complete get up. So we have our soldering iron here, and there's a MOSFET which can control it, so it can actually turn the iron on and off. And the switch allows you to set between irons always on or irons only on when it's extended. Then in the left hand here, we have the solder spool, the full pound of solder, and I've got it going through the extruder motor and into the flexible spring that brings it to my fingertips. And then both of these are going to this stylish battery pack, which is just a USB charge pack for like cell phones and whatnot. Yeah, so let's just do a quick test here. All right. Ah! So I made it so the light blinks, the green light, and it basically, again, it doesn't know the temperature of the gun, it just knows how long it takes to heat up. So when it goes solid, that means it's ready to melt solder. See? Of course, it stays hot for a while too, even after it turns off. All right, well, I think it's time to do something with this tool. So my Attack from Mars game, one of the lights has been kind of intermittent, the M light. And it's not the bulb, I'm pretty sure it's the wire. So I've got all the tools on me to fix it. So look, I don't need any cords, even though I'm covered with cords. I don't need any alternating current cords or mains, as Dave Jones would say. I can just waltz over and do it. Okay, so this upside down. So this is the lamp that's having some issues. So I'm going to resolder it. Look, I can hold tools, I can do all sorts of stuff at the same time because it turns out I have 10 fingers. There we go. The handy thing is I don't have to set anything down. And then I can retract it when I want to do things with my finger. And you might be wondering if it makes my finger hot, and like, no, I can't feel the heat. Well, I mean, I can sort of sense it, but it's not, right? This wire I probably made too thick, but if we have, you can look at an American wire gauge and it'll tell you how much amperage you can put through a wire. Like these wires here are about 2 amps. So this iron is about 2.3 amps. So it would have been kind of pushing it to use these thin wires. But the next size I had was 18 gauge, which is a little too thick, but it's better to, you know, have more current carrying capacity than you need than not enough. because otherwise the wires will get hot and they'll become iron. There we go. That's a nice snug fit. Oh, look at all the tools I'm holding. Yes. Leadfinger strikes again. He's the man with the touch of lead. Or tin, silver, you'll soon be dead. I wonder if Shirley Bassey's still alive. I like the blinking light. Even though it doesn't actually know the temperature, it's satisfying. I'm just basically making sure this connection is solid. I'm adding solder to it. Yeah, it doesn't look too awful. I think I probably need a larger capacitor on this unit here, because if you saw when the motor runs, it draws a lot of current and actually caused the processor to reset. I know it reset because the default state of the processor on boot is to have this retracted. Wow, these solder gauntlets are awesome. They could be super useful for future projects when there's a lot of soldering to be done. That's all the time we have for today. In our next episode, we're going to be working with a classic 8-bit computer, the ZX Spectrum. We're going to take it apart and see what mods can be done. We'll see you then.
Lead finger. He's the man with the touch of lead. Boom, boom. I've run into my calculation wall.
In between, we would sandwich it in between. Sandwich, yeah, we would sandwich it.
Sandwich. Eat a sandwich. I wish we still had the automatic glue gun. It was so cool. I can shoot lead at people. This is starting to look like a caveman blood transfusion device. Ugh, what type are you? That would be awesome.
The Ben Heck Show is brought to you by Element 14, the electronic design community and online store built for engineers and hobbyists alike. Join now and browse the store at element14.com.